Okay, don't hit skip before we start today's podcast. I'm really excited. This is a personal, exciting thing for me. I wanted to quickly let you guys know about my upcoming Off the Vine tour called Pour Decisions, Pour, wine will be drank. I'm back on the road for the first leg of our tour. I'm coming through the good old Midwest. For the second half, I'll be headed to the Southeast. So I'm going Columbus, Cleveland, Ohio, Atlanta, Madison, Des Moines, Kansas City, Columbia, Missouri, Tampa, Orlando, Nashville. I'm coming to all you beautiful people. These podcast tours are always a highlight of my year because there's just no other way to put it than it's just pretty damn fun. I get to hang out with you in person. It's just the energy is electric. It's just insane. Like leaving those live podcasts, I'm like, whoa, that felt like an empowerment session. I feel elevated. The vibrations, don't get me started on how high those are. So check out my website, KaitlynBristowe.com, to buy tickets for those who join me. I can guarantee a little dancing, a lot of laughing, wine, lots of wine. Even if you're pregnant. I've had pregnant, sober people come to my show and say it was still fun. They bring their boyfriends, their husbands, and I even see them smiling at the end of it. So let's toast to that. I'll see you on tour. Okay, welcome to Off the Vine. I'm your host, Kaitlyn Bristowe. Today on the podcast, we have Pilot Pete, who is still a pilot, by the way, while filming Traitors, while trying to get a new job, while writing a book, while, I don't know, doing all of his media tour for Traitors. I ask him everything from who he had a crush on this season, who he's dating right now. We get all the tea on if the rumors are true with him and Ekin Sue, if he's maybe possibly having a romance whirlwind with Audrina Patridge. I'm rooting for that one. We get into all that and every burning question you could ever imagine from the show Traitors, and at the end we play a little airplane edition of Can You Not? I could have went for an hour on just that alone. Here's Pilot Pete. Hi, how are you? I haven't seen you in so long.
It's been a minute. It's been a long time.
It really has.
I don't even remember the last time.
You've just been up to like some more reality TV, and are you in New York?
Yeah. I'm in. I live out in Flatiron now. I've been out here for. I don't think I've seen you since I've lived in New York.
I was going to say, because I remember you, wait, did you move out there and then go somewhere else and then move back? Or have you been there the whole time since you moved?
No, I moved out here January, like beginning of January of 21. And I moved around in the city, different spots. I was living with Dustin and Clay for a couple of years. Now I'm on my own out in Flatiron. So this is going on year 4.
Do you love it?
I'm obsessed. Yeah,
really?
I was supposed to be here for a year or two. Like that was initially, and then go back to LA. And then I just kept extending. Now I'm extending one more time. Like long-term view, like I need to probably be back in LA, but I can't get enough of it yet. I love it out here.
I'm with you. I used to think I didn't like New York. And then the more time I spent there, the more I just fell in love with the city. And now I'm like, oh, I would do anything to live there. But with 2 dogs, it's kind of hard. But I'm like, oh, I love it. There's so much.
I did it. I had Trip for two of the first 3 years. I had him with me. So it's possible with dogs. But I mean, if you're close to Central Park, that's super nice too.
That's true. I've seen it. Like I always laugh so hard at New York dogs. I'm like, those dogs are so funny because they'll like wear rain boots and a little rain jacket and then just shit in the streets, and they're just like they get it. Yeah. I feel like my dogs would be like, what? I can't.
You'd be surprised. Because Trip was like 16 when I brought him out. I'm like, how is an old dog gonna like handle adapting here? And they adapt. They just get used to it. A couple months in, he was running around like he owned the city, so it was good.
Wait, that's so cute. Trip was 16 when he was with you?
I had him until he passed when he was 18 and a half. Yeah, so I had him for 2.5 years in New York. At the very end, his twilight years, we lived it up in the city.
Oh, do you think there's any chance that Goldens could live till they're 18? Please say yes.
I mean, yeah. If you show them enough love, hell yeah. Every dog, we've been so lucky. Big dogs, small dogs. That my whole family, they've just like at least like 15, 16. So I think, yeah.
Wow. Okay, well then my dogs are gonna live forever because I'm obsessed and they're spoiled rotten. So good news for me.
I believe it. I love seeing them. On
IG. They're the best. They're the best. Okay, I can't wait to talk to you about everything. I am obsessed with the show Traitors, which I didn't know I would be because it takes a lot for me to get into like any kind of reality TV. I remember a casting director that I knew from Dancing with the Stars was like, do you want to go on? And I was like, I don't know. I'd have to watch it first and see. And then I watched it and I was hooked on episode 1. It's so good, but it reeks of effort, like swimming and doing all these challenges. And like, was it harder than it even looks?
It was. But that actually I enjoyed. Like I was probably like in the minority of that. I enjoyed those missions like no other. Like that first one that we did with that lock, like out in the huge lake out in like the Highland Mountains was just, it was it was just one of those moments where it's just like a pinch you moment, because like the whole cast, like that was when everyone still was there, no one had been kicked off yet, and we're just like, look where we are. It felt like a very like Harry Potter ominous kind of vibe, and the Loch Ness monster is possibly like in this water right now where we're swimming. So it was very, very intense. That was one of the things I was most looking forward to. You know, you watch a lot of competition shows, and I was like, I just want to make it through at least one mission. I don't want to get voted out before I get an opportunity to do something like that. Because Bachelor, you do maybe some cool stuff, but it's not the same, like not as competitive or as like difficult. And so this I was looking forward to, and yeah, I had the opportunity to do quite a bit of them. So that was one of the best parts for me.
Oh, wow. I love that. I'm so competitive. So I feel like I would be like, once I'm in it, I'm in it. But just watching, I'm like, that looks like something I don't want to do. But once I'm immersed in it, I know I'd be fine. Now, I want to back up
Once
a little
you're in
bit.
it, though, you can't stop. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah. No, you're fully, and especially if you're competitive, which I think you are.
Yeah.
But Bachelor world. Okay, so obviously it had been like a few years since you'd been on The Bachelor. I'm trying to remember because I know we like talked and we were friends through that, and I'm trying to remember. Did you have a hard time? Now I know everybody has a hard time transitioning and coming off that show and going through what you go through. But did you go through like a rough time and like question going on reality TV? I can't remember the answer to this.
Totally. I mean, to be completely honest, I never really thought I'd ever do reality TV
Yeah.
again. I got this call, you know, it was from Dina about, no joke, about a week before we actually started filming, like a
No
week
way.
before the first day of filming, not just showing up there. So it was a super, super last minute thing for me. I had seen Ari's season, the first season of Traitors. And so I had been hooked in it from that. And immediately I finished up all the episodes and binged them. I was like, holy shit, I get to go do this in a week. Like, how cool is that? But yeah, from my experience from The Bachelor, and just obviously they're two completely different shows and different experiences. I remember going on the Traitors and and all the press leading up and interviews. Oh, how does, your experience in The Bachelor prepare you for this? I'm like, honestly, not at all. They're so different. The Bachelor, I was fully invested emotionally. Like I'm probably too much, and it got me into trouble sometimes. This, I was like, I'm trying to disconnect as much from emotion and just strategically like be mindful of everything I do and try to like not be influenced at all by my heart. Yeah. And so, but I think I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. And, I think for me, it was, I guess I was 2020. I did ended The Bachelor. So this is like, 3 years, a little over 3 years of a gap. And I would think that was a good kind of break and reset, because like you said, everyone handles it differently. It's tough. It can be very rewarding and like an amazing experience, but also very draining and tough to kind of like just regroup and take it all in and analyze it all and refocus. So I think the timing of it worked perfect for me to do Traitors. Yeah.
That's what I think too, because I remember I never could have even thought about doing reality TV after coming off The Bachelor, and I was in such a dark place and I just wasn't myself, and I didn't trust people. Even like going on Dancing with the Stars, however many years later, I was like, are the producers trying to manipulate me right now? Are they actually like telling me what's true? Like, you kind of are mindful from it. But I do feel like 3 years is a good amount of time to kind of process, go through everything that you've gone through. I'm sure you I mean, I'm just speaking from personal experience, but I hit rock bottom after coming out of that show, and I kind of lost myself there for a while. But if you do the right things and you kind of go through all the therapy and humbling yourself and kind of getting off your high horse and going through life, you kind of get back into a place where you're like, okay, that's a very unique show. And now I have this opportunity to do other things. I was actually surprised because I didn't know if you would do reality TV again. But then watching you on Traitors, I was like, you were kind of made for this show. I feel like you did it in like a very like you didn't really let your emotions get the best of you. You were strategic, but you were also like, I feel like you were yourself during it. Like, compared to Bachelor, Bachelorette, did you feel like they portrayed you in the way that you played the game, like, correctly?
They did.
Yeah.
They did. And it's been super funny because I've gotten so many comments from people that are like, we see you in a completely different light. You're such a different person. I'm like, really not a different person. Like, sure, I've grown a little bit. It's been a couple of years, but I've been Peter the whole time. But that was one thing that like, I relate to what you're saying about going on to a different show and you kind of like have these preconceived notions just from your original experience of how it's going to be. And that was one of the coolest things that I actually really appreciated and enjoyed about Traitors was, and again, I understand like Bachelor and the dynamic of that show and how it works. It's necessary for producer, interaction and just kind of like leading the way a little bit. Just that's the nature of the show. Traitors is the exact opposite. And it was truly just like there was there were cameramen around, but it was a lot of just like the fixed base cameras that would move and like follow you in reality. Once you started reality, you didn't have one conversation with the producer. The only time is like if you had to get your mic battery changed. Hey,
Oh,
like,
really?
Peter, can you come here? You got to change. Like, they didn't, if you wanted, you talked to whoever you wanted to talk to for however long you wanted to talk to them for about whatever. And you did everything your way. And it was like, it took me like a day or two. I'm like, wait, no one's like telling me what, like I get to do whatever I want. Hell yeah. And it just, I appreciated that so much. And I think too, I've like heard stuff, I guess, I don't know if there's like laws, but like with like a game show, producers actually can't influence anything because there's money on the line. Who knows if there's any like validity to that, but
No, I think there
it was a
is.
really cool experience.
Yeah, I forget what show it was. The one that Blake Horseman and Giannina went on where they met. I forget what it's called, but that's what they told me too, where if there's money on the line, like you're winning it as a contestant, the producers actually can't mess with you. So they knew like they liked each other and they didn't have to hide from it. They didn't have to like be like, what are they going to show us? Like they were able to just like each other and have the conversations that they wanted to have, which is obviously a whole new ball game for us as being on Bachelor and Bachelorette. So
for us, we're not used to that at all.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's cool. So, okay, so I always wondered too while watching, I'm like, how much are they influenced by producers? But no, that makes sense that you actually weren't.
Like I would not at all. I remember, I think it was a shock when I had like and it was like the sweetest interaction like from a producer. I had rejected the recruitment, and right after that, like, you know, you sit there for maybe 10, 15 minutes, just talk. And it was cool. It was very different from the Bachelor. You know, like how Bachelor is a camera and a producer and you're talking to someone. This one, you're like looking straight into a camera and it's just like, there's a voice coming out of like the walls, but you don't see anybody. You're just talking to a camera. So that was cool in itself. But right after, like, I think they could tell I was like really struggling. Like, man, I just made that decision. Like, I hope it's the right one. And then like one of the lead producers, she came out and like just met me in one of the rooms, just gave me like a big hug. It was like, you know what, like respect your decision. Like, you know, you got this and all that. And I was just like, there was so much love in the show. It was cool.
That's cool. I felt the same way about Dancing with the Stars. Like it felt like a lot of love, and it felt like more of a family dynamic where it felt like everybody just cared about everybody. And I was like, this is so nice. And it kind of like gives you a different perspective on reality TV too. Cause you're like, okay, I respect that the producers had to do this on The Bachelor. That is their job. That's how to make the show. That's the format. That's everything that they're doing and like needs to be done. And that's why we even got that opportunity in the first place, is because they've done such a good job over the years. And then, then you get to go on a show after and you're kind of like, wow, I got through already like the hard stuff, and that was kind of more fun and challenging in a different way. But it's so interesting to hear the behind the scenes. Actually, can I just back up a little bit? For people that are listening that don't know the concept of Traitors, could you just kind of give it to us in a nutshell?
For sure. So Traitors is essentially a real life game of Clue. And they pick, you know, around 20 of us to go to this castle in the Highlands of Scotland. Alan Cumming is the host. And first day, he picks between 2 and 5 people at this round table ceremony to be the traitors. And it's in secret. We're all blindfolded. And then from that point on, the point of the game is every single day, there will be a round table ceremony where you have the opportunity to banish a traitor, a person you think's a traitor. And then every night there's a murder that is committed by the traitors. And the whole point is to make it to the end of the game. If just one traitor can sneak by and not be sniffed out by the faithfuls, they call them the faithfuls and the traitors. If one traitor can make it, they actually steal the entire pot of money all to themselves. If the faithfuls make it to the game at the end and it's just them, they would split it if there's 2, 3, or just themselves. And then during the game, you're playing missions to build up the pot. So that's kind of like a cool dynamic too, where you're actually working together partly, you know, part of the time to build up the pot. And the traitors are trying to steal it all at the end, and the faithfuls are trying to sniff out the traitors.
So you don't necessarily end up with a certain amount of money at the end. It's kind of how much you collect through the game.
Yeah. So like the 2 seasons I've seen from the US, Suri won the first one. She was a traitor. She made it to the very end undetected. And there was like 4 people at the end. They all decided to end the game. She, of course, decided to end it too, and it was revealed she was a traitor. So she stole the whole $250,000 pot to herself. Wow. On our season, our pot, we didn't get quite the 250. I think we got like 208, and then there was 2 faithfuls that made it, and so they split the 208 pot. So it's kind of always different.
Okay, we're gonna get to the end of that too, because that was a dirty move, but also like I get it. Yeah. I felt so bad. Was it MJ? Oh my God, her poor face. It reminded me of when I thought I was marrying Chris Soules, and with 3 left, he sent me home, and I like realizing like when he called Whitney's name and then he called Becca's, and it was like my face processing like, wait, oh shit, I'm going home.
Yeah.
Like that's but I was like, oh bless NJ, that broke my heart. We'll get there.
Totally.
How long is filming for you guys that you're there?
It's quick too. We filmed pretty much an episode a day. A couple episodes took more than a day, but I was there for about just over 3 weeks. And then the winners, they went maybe like 4 weeks. So like a month. It was quick for the whole show.
That's actually longer than I thought it was. 4 weeks
really?
Totally there. And you're filming every single day. Are they long days, long hours?
Yes, which is, I give Phaedra so many props because the Traitors have the longest day, right? So like there's so much behind the scenes stuff right at the end where they do such a good job of keeping it a secret because you can't reveal, like you can't allow anybody to get any leg up on who could possibly be a traitor. So at the end, they take everybody out one by one, blindfolded, and like put them in a car by themselves and all this stuff. But the Traitors have to film at the very end of the day. So they have the longest nights, and then they have to wake up like she said she had to do like 2 hours of makeup every single day. I'm like, she had 3 hours of sleep a night. And I'm like, you could never tell. She always looked so well rested. And I'm like, because we tried, we're like, the Traitors probably going to it's going to wear on them. We're going to see like bags under their eyes and like they're going to look tired. And we couldn't pick it up, especially on Phaedra. I was impressed, but very long days.
Wait, that's crazy. So I was actually thinking that while watching, I'm like, so do you obviously don't see them like, oh, that person's up later, or where are they going to film this right now? Was it like you guys got to like go to bed and they'd come sneakily get you and you couldn't leave your room, so you couldn't see who was going around?
We would have at the very end of reality we'd have round table ceremony and then a little bit of reality, and then we'd be off camera. They'd all put us in this one big like living room. They'd give us like a glass of wine. It was like the one time we could like decompress and kind of just chat, like just not about the show. And they would come in one by one and pull us out one by one and put us to bed that way. So you never knew. You would always go by yourself. So you never knew. And they'd always change up the order. So you could never get a tell. Like for me, when I got the recruitment letter, that was the last one left in the room that night. And I remember thinking, oh, I've never been last. And then they come like, hey, Peter, we've got like an audio issue, like for your mic. We need to take you back up to like one of the production rooms. And I'm like, that sounds a little interesting. And then the second I open the door, I see that letter on the sofa. I'm like, okay, this is what this is.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys, small, easy changes in your skincare routine can have amazing results. I actually promise you that. And your secret weapon should be Dime Beauty. So Dime Beauty is a clean, a high-end skincare that is affordable, and it really does work. Dime didn't sacrifice performance just to make it clean either, which I think some people do. And when I say clean, Dime is 100% transparent about every single ingredient so that you can use their products daily with confidence. So if you want to take the guesswork out of your routine, I suggest you start with their Works collection. The restorative night cream is actually the best thing ever. Plus, Dime's sold out retinol alternative, the TBD cream. It's finally back in stock. It was out for so long. So make sure you check that out while you're there. Imagine all the benefits, all the peeling, the redness, all the issues that come with retinol. Like, I'm just obsessed with this one. So Dime has over 2 million happy customers, and their product reviews are literally 5 stars. So if you haven't checked out Dime, then this is your sign. Love your skin again. Go to dimebeautyco.com to unlock the discount. That's dimebeautyco.com. Dime Beauty, clean, affordable, luxurious skincare. Okay, I've got some important news to share. Have you ever heard about Nurex? It's a digital healthcare platform that is all about personalized care. So from birth control to mental health support, Nurex has it all tailored just for you. So to date, Nurex has delivered birth control to more than 1.6 million patients in the US, and it's convenient, private, and it provides reliable reproductive and sexual health care that's accessible right from your own home. So no judgment, no stigmas attached. With Nurex, you've got options. Nurex offers more than 50 birth control formulas, including options for the pill, the patch, or ring. They'll work with you to find the best treatment option for your needs. And taking control of your reproductive health literally starts here. Go to nurex.com/vine to get started. That's nurx.com/vine, VINE. Results may vary, not available in every state. Medications prescribed only if clinically appropriate. Consultation required.
The food looked insane. Was it so good? And like, did they give you wine? Were you allowed to drink, or was it just every once in a while?
It was not like every single day. And again, that kind of show, you don't want really influence, like under the influence, alcohol, that kind of stuff. Just it
That's
doesn't
fair.
help you being like sharpness wise. Well, there was, I guess though, with Ekin, there was a big plot twist kind of with the chalice and being poisoned. So I guess it did come into play a little bit. But the food, and that's also something very different from The Bachelor. We got to eat on screen, like full on have conversations, like fully like stuffing our face. And I'm like, this is so different. Like I'm so used to watching a food just play to get
Like,
cold
oh
and like
gosh,
not even touch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just like stuffing my face the entire time. And we're like gaming, strategy and all that. So food was awesome. The tomato soup was the thing that like it sticks out in my mind. I was obsessed with. And the orange juice I loved every single morning at breakfast. But yeah, food was great. And then we drink a little bit at night, depending on like what had happened in the day. Yeah.
Did you work out? Could you exercise in the mornings, or was there a gym or anything?
There was a gym. I didn't get too much opportunity to do that, but the missions, there was the mission that we did for, I don't know if you remember the catapult mission. That was one of the most physically exhausting things I have ever done in my entire life. And like,
Really?
of course, as episodes edited only, have an hour to show stuff. It took us probably like a good hour of just lugging that entire thing, huge blocks of just wood, running up, and it would rain, like muddy hills. Like we were exhausted. And then I remember there was like at one point we'd assembled the catapult, and like we had oh my God, Kaitlyn, I was so scared. I was like, there's no way this can happen again. We were like the four guys, we had like these long wooden like handles that we were using to like lift up the catapult and push the last like 100 yards. Anyways, I'm like on the front right, and we pick it up. Like we could only go like 10 yards at a time, and we pick it up, and it was so heavy that the wooden plank thing snapped as I was lifting it, and my left eye got within like a couple inches of this huge splinter now sticking out of the wooden thing. And I'm like, what's up with me getting like almost having 2 injuries now in 2 different shows from, my forehead scar. Like I saw like within a couple inches was this huge splinter. So I got lucky that nothing happened.
Yeah, some of the stuff, like the bugs and the maggots and the some things seemed really dangerous. I'm like, this is actually crazy, because nobody ended up getting actually hurt, but I feel like it was a true possibility.
I think Phaedra, she said that she tore her meniscus.
Oh God.
Which is like even more to her credit. I'm like, how did you hide that and like continue the missions? But she said that she had tore her meniscus.
Yeah, I am impressed with Phaedra. She was one of the traitors, and she was really good. And I mean, her little beef with you or banter when she's like, I don't have to, this isn't The Bachelor, I don't need to kiss your ass to get a rose.
I was seeing red.
Face were like, oh God, shut up.
Kaitlyn takes a lot to get me like riled up, and we are so good now. We've completely smoothed it over, but I was seeing red when she went like, and you never get into it. I've learned never get into it with Phaedra, because she will always win. She is just so quick and smart. But yeah, that was a fun round table.
I feel like the whole cast this season, it was super interesting and very entertaining. For the most part, I know there's little beef with you and Phaedra sometimes, but like, did you get along with everybody? Did you have someone that was a favorite that you'd like do you keep in touch with everybody? Like, what was the cast like for you?
Cast camaraderie was awesome. We actually, so we filmed the reunion like 2 weeks ago out in LA, and that was like, we finished filming in probably beginning of October. So it'd been a while since all of us had been back together. We had like a couple days in New York for press, but not everyone was there. But it was super cool to see everyone. And we actually had a cast party at my parents' house like that night right after we filmed the reunion, and like pretty much everybody came, and it was cool to like kind of yes, there was disagreements, and there was, fights and all that happened during the game. But at the end of the day, I think for the most part, everyone realized it was just a game. Like there's nothing really to get personal about this. Like we're competitors, and we gave it our all. But me personally, Bergie is probably my best friend that came out of the show. I freaking love Bergie. Ekin, very, very close with. Trishelle, I just was with Trishelle 2 nights ago. She was out here for some press stuff. Really, everyone super Kevin, super John, Speaker of the House from Parliament. Never thought that I would be friends with this guy, and like he's there. I remember he was having like a conversation with my parents, and like I'm just like, this is like, what's life right now? This is hilarious.
It's just funny who you become friends with through this kind of world, like there's a point in my life where I was like standing like getting hummingbirds flying around me with Spencer Pratt, and I'm like, what turn did I take in life to get here? Like, what's going on?
Wait, what was that from?
I was just friends with Spencer and Heidi, and I was just at their
Oh,
house.
okay.
And he was like showing me how to, and I have a fear of birds, so he was trying to get me over my fear of birds, and we were playing with hummingbirds. It was wild.
That's hilarious. Yeah, you never know who you're going to meet from these experiences, but I think that's one of the cool things that come from them.
But what do you have going on tomorrow that you said?
Oh, tomorrow I'm going with Peppermint. She actually lives in New York. We're going to go see we're seeing Romeo and Juliet at the Met tomorrow, so that'll be fun.
Oh, cool. Wait, that's amazing. And I love that you had the after party at your parents'. How is Barb? I miss her.
She is great. She is thriving. She loved, my mom just is always down for a good time, loves being around people. And she was like so stoked that we were able to throw it at the house. Like immediately, she offered and like, hey, if they want to come, like have them come over here. And we went out to Westlake, close to where the mansion's at, and she's thriving. I think it'd be so funny to see her on a show like the Traitors. I think she would absolutely destroy.
She would be
I know.
so good. I would love to see Barb on Traitors. Okay, let's make that happen. And Barb,
Petition.
obviously, classic Barb posted a photo of you and is it Ekin Sue, right? That's her name?
Yeah, Ekin or Ekin Sue, yeah.
Okay, so people were like shipping or thinking you guys were dating. I feel like you've probably already addressed this, but are you just really good friends?
Really, really good friends, yeah. I mean, I obviously get everyone, commenting on that, and the picture probably confused people. No, she's beautiful. She's beautiful. Yeah. But she's out in London. She's filming Big Brother right now. So we're really, really, truly good friends. We're very much alike. We got along super, super well. But yeah, really good friends.
Wait, I saw you hanging out with Audrina Patridge lately. I love her. And is that a thing? Am I allowed to ask? Is that a thing? Or are you guys just working together?
That's just work. Got some exciting stuff possibly coming up in the future with her and I. And it was like super, super random how, again, like you said, you never know who you're going to meet from those experiences. But we got connected. I was actually out when I was in LA for the reunion. One of those nights I met up with Audrina for the first time and just met for the first time at a good little meeting there. And awesome. She's an awesome person. Like get along super well. Such a sweetheart. So yeah, excited to see what happens there.
Okay, introducing your must-have makeup essential CoverGirl Simply Ageless Skin Perfector Essence. Now sure, you can rock it solo, but here's the scoop, okay? I've unlocked its full potential and I use it as a primer under my foundation. Let me tell you, the results speak for itself. Just 2 weeks, you guys. It's revolutionized my complexion. It's smoothed my skin texture and boosted its firmness like nobody's business. And with a whopping 71% water content, it is my not-so-secret weapon for that radiant, age-defying glow. So all I can say is thank you, CoverGirl. I mean, you guys have been around proving yourselves forever. It's like my personal fountain of youth. So wave goodbye to the beauty problems and say hello to your new go-to, the Simply Ageless Skin Perfector Essence, exclusively available from the iconic, easy breezy, beautiful CoverGirl. This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. My little binos. You know it's coming, whether you love true crime or comedies, celebrity interviews, news, motivational speakers, whatever it is, you call the shots on what's in your podcast queue, right? And guess what? Now you can call the shots on your auto insurance too. Enter the Name Your Price tool from Progressive. The Name Your Price tool puts you in charge of your auto insurance by working just the way it sounds. You tell Progressive how much you want to pay for car insurance, and you know what they're going to do? They go and show you a variety of coverages that fit within your budget, giving you options. They just don't make them like that anymore. So now that's something you're going to want to press play on, and it's easy to start a quote, and you'll be able to choose the best option that's able to work for you and fast. It's just one of the many ways you can save with Progressive Insurance. Quote today at progressive.com to try the Name Your Price tool for yourself and join the over 28 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
I have a few more Traitors questions from listeners, but I'm excited to see what the upcoming projects are for you. Are you allowed to talk about them, or is it kind of still in the works?
These are kind of in the works. It's kind of on it. There are 2 possible hosting gigs, which would be really sweet. I never thought about ever getting into that. But she had these really 2 cool ideas, and one is definitely up my alley, which I would love to do. So we just did like a little sizzle reel this past weekend, and we'll see where it goes.
I love that. Okay, so is Pilot Pete single, ready to mingle? Are you dating? What's going on?
Pilot Pete is very single, is ready to mingle and date. This I keep saying this year has probably one of the best years of my life so far, and I'm loving this energy. And there's something I feel that's like really, really good about 24. And I can feel finally, I hope, fingers crossed, a relationship comes out of this. And, last relationship would be ideal. So I'm very optimistic.
I feel you on that. Last one would be really great. I feel like I've been all about good vibrations and being on a high vibe and like ignoring the low vibes. And I just got,
Yes.
I just got this tattooed on me yesterday. It says high vibrations.
I love that. High vibe tribe. I mean, that's
High
me.
vibe
I try to
tribe.
live it all the time.
Yes, I feel like you're
Let's
on it.
go.
I feel like you're living on the high frequency. I'm so obsessed. I could tell by your whole energy and just like everything. Even just watching you on Traitors compared to Bachelor, I feel like you've just grown. I don't know how to explain it. I think it's like a lot of your energy. You just feel like you're in such a good place, which I'm so excited for you. I'm
Thank you
rooting
so
for you
much.
and Audrina if that's ever a thing, because holy shit, that would be amazing. I love her.
You never know.
I changed my Facebook picture to her one time on Facebook because people were like, oh, she's your doppelganger, like back when I was, I don't know, like 17,
You guys
18.
have a similar look for sure.
That's so then I had her on my podcast. And again, I'm like, this is so funny. I used to be like, have you as my profile picture, which is creepy, but also amazing.
That is funny.
To talk to her. But yeah, she's lovely. I'm rooting for that one. Okay, a few traitor questions from listeners. Would you have liked to be chosen as a traitor originally, or did you like being a faithful?
No, I would have taken it in a heartbeat. I would have
Really?
loved to. I remember round table. So the way that Alan did it, it was very like my heart was going. Oh my God. Alan, real quick, was such a joy to work with in regards to that. He's such a master of his craft. He did not break character once the entire time of filming. Not once. Like what you see on camera, that's how he just carried himself the entire show. After we had one of the press days in New York, we all went to his Club Coming in New York City. And that was the first time we got to like just hang out with him, just like as like a dude, like not in the role. And it was the first time I'm like, oh my God, I'm actually feeling like I get to know you. But I just admired so much how much he like was a master of his craft and bought into it. Love Alan. That round table, Alan is going around and he's like going to tap who the traitors are. And he did it like maybe 8 laps. And every single time you could hear his footsteps getting closer to you. And I'm just like praying, like imagining like a feeling of someone touching my shoulder. It never came, but I would have loved to have been a traitor. I would have taken the first recruitment. It just, when they offered it to me at that point, for my second recruitment, I couldn't take it at that point.
I was surprised you didn't take it. Okay, what made you say no to taking the recruitment option the second time?
So I guess so their second recruitment, I had to say no to. But listen, a big part of it was I just was very loyal to the team of people I was working with. I felt, but I'm not. Listen, I'm not dumb, not naive. Like I only would have rejected it if I truly felt I had a chance to victory still at that point as staying a faithful. And I really did. I thought, listen, we have shields available still. We have a lot of momentum. We still have numbers on our side at this point. I don't want to turn and now have to switch up the whole dynamic, have to start lying to everyone. Possibly now that comes out and people get on to me. I also thought aside from like the loyalty, strategically, I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. The next morning around, breakfast, everyone's going to know there was no murder, which means there was a recruitment. So I'm thinking if any logical mind's going to think, okay, who's the likely target for a recruitment? At that point, I had been I was very forward about my accusations. I was very like hot on Parvati and Phaedra. I had been accurate stuff with Dan. I'm thinking, okay, anyone that's thinking who would they have recruited probably would be me. And so now if they are thinking that, now, I could see Phaedra and Parvati really throwing me under the bus, having me get banished as a traitor, right? Because I would have converted at that point. And now they absolve all, kind of like worry that they were possibly traitors or like any suspicion. And, they probably soar to the end because they helped get out a traitor. So I'm like, I don't think this makes sense. And then on top of the loyalty, I'm like, no, I'm just going to stay status quo and stay faithful.
I liked that move. I was surprised, but I liked it. I was like, yes, Peter. Do you think you would have gone farther if you did? Now you kind of explained it. Like they would have probably got you out right away.
I think they would have really gotten hard to like banish me. And again, I guess I've thought about this stuff so much, like either way, there was no murder the next morning. So maybe people still thought I was recruited, even though I had denied it. I also thought that wasn't going to be the last recruitment for me. I thought I was going to get a second offer for the ultimatum. I was surprised Phaedra went Kate's route. I think Phaedra would have won the game if she recruits me the second time, forces me into it, because now again, she can the very next day throw me under, banish me as a traitor. And she's so close to the end at that point that I don't see her getting discovered as a traitor that close to the end. So that's my theory.
Were you surprised when you found out that Kate was a traitor?
I was. I I really had zero. I had zero. I mean, I didn't have time really to have any suspicion on her because of when she got recruited and then when I left. But I do remember at the round table when they were going around with their votes, the last table that I was at when I got banished. And I remember hearing Kate, like, she really was going at me, like in her explanation. She's like, Peter, this is, why I think you're a traitor. And like, but saying a lot of stuff that like made no sense, but was like very aggressive. And I'm like, where'd that energy come from, Kate? Like, what's going on there? And I thought it was a little odd. Still didn't think that maybe she was a traitor in that moment, but turns out, that she was at the end. And yeah, I don't know why she voted to end the game when she did, because that kind of just gave away that she was a traitor at that point.
Yeah, I agree. And if you could choose two people to be traitors with you, who would you choose?
Oh, I would have loved to have played with Bergie and Trishelle.
Yeah.
If we could have and then I've thought that stuff too. I'm like, God, if I would have accepted it, now what if I'm able to turn on them? I get Parvati and Phaedra out and I get to recruit now. And like, I get to recruit the faithfuls to the traitors. Like that would have been so fun to be able to do.
I wondered, I don't know the answer to this, but I wondered if like, when you do get cast for the show, are you able to be like, please make me a traitor? Like I really want to, or be like, don't pick me. Like, are you allowed to have a say?
I mean, I can only speak for myself. I didn't have a say. I said yes. I flew out there and started playing the game. But I do think that like a suggestion I have, because I think the show is going to be so successful and go on for so many years. Just people are falling in love with it for a reason. But the characters, that they can bring different personalities. The only thing I would change up would be, I think they need to automate and or randomize the pick of the traitors, so nobody can have an unfair target on their back. Because if it's randomized, no one can have any suspicion at that point. Like Bananas, I think if he goes back, he's always going to be someone that is always targeted right in the beginning because of his strong gameplay and like all of his success on challenges.
Totally.
I think you get rid of that if you randomize.
That's good. Yeah, I was surprised he went out so quick. Okay, and then last question: do you think CT and Trishelle deserve to win?
I do. Listen, they played a stellar game. I was really close with Trishelle for the my whole game time on the game. CT was someone that I could never fully get the read on. I went back and forth a couple of times, and it was one of the personalities I couldn't get.
Yeah.
But I know there's all this, controversy or opinions of, listen, it's a game. They did their best to it for sure. I think there's proof that it wasn't nothing dirty was done, or there was no conspiracy. No one was in cahoots with each other, because before they decided to do that last vote, Trishelle had voted CT out. So if MJ just votes CT, now MJ and Trishelle are winning the game together. Right. But it didn't go that way. They all voted for each other. And so then the next round, I totally understand Trishelle now being, okay, well, MJ, you just voted for me the last time. I have to vote your way. And she switches her vote up to MJ, and then you see CT and Trishelle win. So I guess I see MJ's feelings and how she could be hurt. I totally get that. It'd be annoying getting that close and then having to get voted out, but it's a gameplay, and I think CT and Trishelle did an incredible job.
Wait, was CT pissed that it was like they had the final two with CT and Trishelle, and then Trishelle voted for him? Or was that a plan? Was that some sort of tactic to be like, okay, now we're gonna have to vote again, and now we can both vote out MJ? I don't know.
No, that's the thing. I've talked to them a bunch after. That wasn't planned. It was so funny because Trishelle and CT had this. It was kind of cool, their relationship, right? They'd known each other for so many years back, on their previous shows. And then on the Traitors, they both kind of played with each other a little bit. One would not trust the other, and then it would switch to the other. And they both kind of went back and forth. And then you see this relationship kind of bridge at the very end of the game. But then there's one more move. Trishelle was saying that when CT switched up the last vote at the round table ceremony, she then was like, wait, holy shit, are you really pulling one over me right now? And then had one bit last hesitation if she wanted to trust CT. So that's why she said she had voted for CT at that last fire pit of truth. And then it turned out the way it did. But I think it was cool. It was very kind of fitting and poetic almost the way it ended with them two winning at the end together.
It really was. It was such a fun season to watch. I mean, it was the only season I've watched, but I was so into it, and now I can't wait for next season.
You've got to do a season.
I want to do it now. Before I was like, I don't know, and now I watch. I'm sad it's over. I want to do it.
You should, if you get the opportunity, you have to take that. It was the most fun I had.
List. I'm Scottish.
Oh, have you been? You haven't been to Scotland yet? Oh, Kaitlyn, even more reason. Okay, you got it next season.
I know. I'm so excited. Okay, so I feel like the game, like obviously all we see is gameplay. Did anything happen behind the scenes that was so funny or like that people wouldn't know that you're like, this is a hilarious story?
To be completely honest, no, just because they took it so seriously that you really didn't have any time with each other. You were always by yourself. Once you weren't filming the show, like I wish I could give you guys something, but you didn't. Like you would, when you were not filming or like on your off days, you were talking to a therapist, to make sure that you're good with everything and the gameplay is not getting too much to your head.
Oh, that's
like
good.
A couple times, yeah, you'd be like in the gym, like you'd be able to work out with someone else, but for the most part, you were by yourself always. So yeah, I wish I could give you guys something, but no, you were always by yourself when you weren't playing with each other.
That makes sense. I know you can't tell us full details, but can you tease anything that's coming up for you next? I think you kind of did. You're like, it could be a hosting possibility, but where can people get your book? Where can people find you on socials? And yeah, what's coming up next?
So yeah, I have my children's book out, The Adventures of Pilot Pete. I can tease that. I am, Peter, actually, Peter Geist.
Yeah.
So we've actually started chatting, and we might in the works to try to make that into a cartoon. Would love to like kind of like the Magic School Bus type vibe back in like the day. Would love to do like a fictional series of where that book started, but make it all fictional. So that's a dream I've had for a while. We're starting to kind of get the ball rolling on that. Some possible hosts and stuff, and one being actually very travel minded, which would be obviously right up my alley. I would love to do another one being with some love and maybe I have a little bit better success not being in it, but looking on from the outside. And yeah, I don't know. You never know what opportunities are going to present themselves. I'm still flying, so I have a full-time job flying for United. So
shit. How are you doing this?
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy, but luckily with the scheduling ability and the flexibility I get from United, I am able to make, like for the Traitors, it was 3 weeks. So that was manageable to get time off. But everyone thinks like, how, like, or did you stop flying? I'll never stop flying. That's my dream. That's my passion. Everything has to be able to fit with my flying schedule for me to be able to say yes.
I love that you still have that, and that's like I was going to ask you, and I just can't. That's crazy. Good for you. I'm like proud of you for that. And which leads me to my next segment and my last segment, which is Can You Not? Where airports and airplanes, I feel like, are the easiest place to get annoyed and irritated and like bothered by other human beings. So I was asking people on Instagram of like what their Can You Not is for airplanes. So I thought you could do one as a pilot, and then I'll give you feedback as a passenger. And you could probably agree with some of mine, and I'll laugh at some of yours.
Okay. All right. Let's do it.
Okay, you start.
Okay. Can you guys not clap when we land the airplane?
Thank you. That's one of mine.
What? Like it's I get it. I mean, I don't get it. Like I'm trying to get it. I'm like, but like this is what we are trained to do. Like, are you really that impressed that we do it? Like this is our job, like on the regular. Like, is it that impressed? I don't know, but I appreciate the love and the support.
Like they're like, yeah, he didn't crash the plane. You're like, no shit.
Well, you were expecting that? Like, yeah. Like, what were you guys expecting?
Oh my gosh, wait, that annoys me too. I would die to hear your pilot voice because you know how they all sound the same. Somebody said, can you not talk so close to the mic that it's muffled and we can't understand anything?
Roger that. Welcome aboard United Flight 78.
What is that? Why do all pilots muffle their voices and go in between everything?
That's a great question. I don't know, but you are so right. We do that. I've probably been guilty of doing that many times. I think I picked up from my flight instructor, like he would always just like Cliff Parkhill and just like the epitome of that kind of voice on the radio. And it was so funny. I don't know if it's just like our brain is like, we're multitasking so much. Like when we're talking on the radio, we're also monitoring all our instruments and, you're listening to ATC on another frequency. So maybe our brain is just like, we're maximizing our ability and we just need that little, to like regroup and think about, maybe that's it.
That makes complete sense.
Multitasking.
I was looking for an answer, and that might be it. Have you seen the Family Guy episode where Quagmire is the pilot and he does it for like an obnoxious amount of time?
Just like nonstop. Yeah, I have. Yeah, we got to work on that. That's become a thing.
It is such a thing. Okay, you go.
All right. Can we not? This is like my biggest pet peeve. Okay. Is when like it's mainly when I'm a passenger. Is when like we land, you hear the seatbelt sign get clicked off. You can feel the airplane stopped. seatbelt signs off, and immediately everyone gets up into the aisle that are behind you to try to rush in front of you. And I'm just like, why do you think that you're supposed to get off the plane before people in front of you? Like, just wait your turn.
Etiquette. It's etiquette.
Plain etiquette.
Get it, and it makes me so mad because one person said to me, it just happened to me the other day. They got up and they went to get in front of me, and I was like, "Oh, excuse you," and they said, "I have to make a connection." I said, "So do I. How do you know that?"
Everyone does.
We all have connections. You ding dong.
It's just like, and just like I always make sure like a point of like, no, we're not rushing off the airplane. It's going to be at least 5 minutes before the door is attached, the door opens, and we're all, everyone in front of us has gotten off. So I make a point of like sitting down. And then the second that my row clears out, I immediately hop up and I'm like, nope, I'm there. Like I cut them off there. I'm like, guys, it's just annoying. I know what you mean.
This is one where I can't get over people do this, and that nobody has like that. It's just not like a rule at this point or like a law, but can you not take your shoes and socks off? Like, how are you sitting there and go to the bathroom? Sometimes people are sitting there. I had a man sitting next to me picking his toenails with bare feet.
That's disgusting.
Can you not?
Have you ever, that's, there should be like a rule against that. That's not cool. You ever had like when they put especially with no shoes, I don't know if it's worse with no shoes on or shoes on, but like if you're on the window seat and they put their feet like on the armrest right behind you and you can feel it like touching your elbow. I'm like, guys, are you kidding me right now? Yeah.
I don't know how people do, like in your own home, sure, do whatever you want with your feet, but in public and in like an enclosed space with other people, you're walking in poo, pee, dirt, like all the grossest things in the world are on the bottom of your shoes. And then bare feet are just nasty in general, but on an airplane, I can't, if that was ever me and I was like a first time flyer and I thought it was acceptable, I would hope somebody would sit me down and be like, you can't do that. Like you cannot do that.
I've seen people bare feet put their feet up on the freaking screen, on like the TV screen, and just like rest their feet like that. I'm like, how are you not embarrassed by that? Like, how do you have the audacity just to like,
who raised you? Who raised you?
Yeah. That's wild.
Okay, you go.
Can we not freak out from a little bit of turbulence? When you see like the wings shake, like it's so funny. Like I get it. I know people have phobias and different fears, but just so you guys can all hear it from a pilot, airplanes are designed to withstand so much more than they will ever encounter. And I mean that going through turbulence. We have so many systems, so much redundancy built into all of our systems where if there's a failure, there's a backup. There's a backup to the backup. All you got to think of is going through turbulence. The wing shaking is going down a bumpy road and there is absolutely nothing to worry about. I promise you that.
I actually enjoy turbulence. I'm one of those. I'm like, yeah, it's fun. I can like sleep through turbulence actually. But it's funny because a girl wrote in and said, can you not just casually ignore extreme turbulence? But I am the same way as you. I'm like, can you not freak out about turbulence?
No, yeah, I'm with you on that. And it's funny, when I was little, I was the same way. I'd always like put my hands up when I'd fly with my mom and like act like we were on a roller coaster with turbulence. Like, yeah. I enjoyed it, but.
Okay, my last one is, I'm trying to pick from a few, but okay, wait, I have two more. Okay, my second last one is, can you not make me feel bad for ordering another drink? I feel like sometimes flight attendants make me feel like I'm inconvenience, and I'm like, I feel so terrible too because I don't like when people think I'm annoying. So I have like this paranoia, but if I want another drink or if I'm like need something, I'm like, oh God, I'm so sorry. Like I refuse to ring.
Do you press the button? You don't do it.
No.
Okay. I never do that.
I feel too bad because I'm like, I already feel like an inconvenience, but I don't like to be made to feel like one. I wish that they could see how hard I'm trying to not be annoying and then not make me feel even worse.
I get that. You know what you should do is, and flight attendants are very social. They love chatting. Just go up to like the galley and just like go talk, have a conversation with them, and maybe ask them for a drink there. Like I think, that would get rid of those feelings. But
I was going to ask you, what is one thing we can do? Because I said this on my Instagram the other day. I always feel so bad also for pilots and flight attendants because you are dealing with people who are so entitled, who think like that the weather and them missing a flight is your fault. Like there's a lot of people who get angry on flights. I'm like, what can we do for you guys to make your day better?
Oh, wow. It's that's a good question. Honestly, it's mainly the flight attendants, right? They're like the face of the airline. They're who you're going to see every single flight. For us, we maybe get to interact with passengers right before, like when we're pre-flight in our airplane and the door is open. But the second that cockpit door closes, like we're detached. So yeah, with flight attendants, showing them some grace and compassion and patience. There's a lot of people obviously on an airplane that they have to tend to and make sure they're comfortable and everything. Obviously safety is always the number one priority. So everything else comes second to that. But I always, I try to bring box of chocolates. I fly, standby a lot of the times when, just a benefit of being an airline employee. So, they love receiving a nice box of chocolates before a flight, just like out of, gratitude, appreciation for everything they do. It's always a nice gesture.
That's a good idea. I'm going to do that in my next flight. I like that. And then the most controversial
And then they'll
thing
hook you up. They'll take care of you.
Okay, can I be on your buddy pass? Just kidding. That was another person's. Can you not? They're like, just because I work at an airline, can you not ask to be my buddy and have a buddy pass?
That's funny. Yeah. That's one of the perks. One of the best perks.
I bet. Okay. The most controversial thing I'm going to ask you this whole podcast.
Okay.
Here it is.
Oh boy. Don't get me in trouble.
What is your take on reclining your chair and keeping the window up or down in the window seat?
Okay, so window seat, I don't even know. Is this like annoying to keep it up?
I think
because the sun comes in.
It depends.
Because I'm always full up.
Really?
Oh, so we wouldn't be good flying partners. Okay.
Well,
just like
all,
you have.
Do you like window or aisle?
Window always. I take window just for the view. Obviously, I always nerd out, and I actually find it quite rude. And I'm like, really? Like, how are you not impressed enough by us accelerating on a runway to about 160, 170 knots to then rotate and fly away from the earth and see the whole ground just separate from you, and then climbing through clouds and and seeing a beautiful sunset? How are you not just jaw dropped every single flight with your face glued to the window staring outside? And now it's every airplane has every entertainment console in the back seats and phones and Wi-Fi. So it's man, I love to kind of decompress on airplanes and like get away from technology and just enjoy. So I'm a windows up kind of guy.
I totally understand that part of it. I'm all about the takeoff, the sunsets. I love every part of that. I'm just more of a sleeper on a plane. And so
Okay.
I prefer the window because I like to have control whether it's up or down, but I read my audience. So I will see if the person next to me is trying to see out the window and enjoying it. I'm not going to shut it on them. If I see that they're trying to sleep.
That's cool.
Yeah, if I see they're trying to sleep and it's bright and I'm like, oh, sorry. I'll put it down for them. I'm very Canadian on airplanes, and I feel so guilty every time I recline my chair. But let me tell you, I'm going to recline it every time. There wouldn't be recliners on a plane if you weren't supposed to lean back.
Listen, it's true. I'm a taller guy. I'm 6'3", and people recline on me all the time. It is what it is.
I get that would suck as a tall person. I'm just small, so I don't care when people recline, but I always recline because I'm like, well, I want to lay back. I want to be comfortable. I pay for this.
I totally get that. Exactly. You pay for it. And there's other seats you can get with more leg room too. So it's you can't, I don't think you can fault people for reclining and trying to just get knock out a little bit and get some sleep. But I appreciate that. The politeness, your Canadian politeness for the window shades, that does not go unnoticed. So I get that.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I want people to comment for this podcast because I remember seeing this online once and people were fighting in the comments about if the window should be up or not, or if you should recline your chair. So I want to know what everybody thinks in the comments. And I also want to just say thank you for taking the time and talking to me today. I have missed your face and it was so good to catch up, and you crushed it on this season. I actually thought you were going to win.
Oh, I appreciate that. I wish I could have. Who knows? Maybe I'll get a second chance redemption there. I'd love to see you on it. That would be awesome. So pulling for you, and had a blast.
Thank you so much, and I'm excited to see what's next for you.
Awesome. Thanks, Kaitlyn. Appreciate it.
I'm Kaitlyn Bristowe. I'll see you next Tuesday. See you next